And welcome everybody, it is the final game here of day 2 of week 4 for the Tencent LPL Summer. My name is Pastry Time, I'm going to be joined by Papa Smithy, and it is Royal up against OMG.
And it's a Royal that played themselves into form with an excellent game against EPHK yesterday. We finally saw Uzi go real man mode on that Twitch there. You know, the Twitch this week has just been such a terror on the winning side so often. And they'll probably try and see securing that, or maybe even their famous Caitlyn pick as they try and return to the hard sieging, hard play here, Royal, against an OMG team that's, I don't know about you, Page Time, but they've really impressed me with solid play. They just always default to that pick strategy and play it so well.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to matter which champions you give OMG, whether or not they're playing support, Twisted Fate, or Blitzcrank, or whatever's going on, they always seem to just have one way to play the game and one way to play it very well here. So the bans Zach, Nunu, and Lysandra on the Royal side, and Thresh, Elise, and Kennen actually gonna give that Caitlyn to Royal if they want it. Of course, Twitch is open as well, so that could be the pick in here, but be interesting to see if Royal decide that, you know what, with Caitlyn open, that is who we want here, and I'll pick that one up for Izzy.
It's such a double-edged sword, taking the Caitlyn and playing the fast push against OMG, just because OMG are famous for their picks, but is it better to try and maybe take down that mid turret earlier and have a vision advantage to stop the picks from coming out? Or do you play with fire and let OMG play that fast push pick comp and get that turret advantage? I mean, both cases are almost just really risky propositions here, as we see. Going, circle through some champions.
He's going through a couple of options here. Royal, interestingly, first pick Rise here in this draft, so don't want either of the AD carries that we might want to see. I think OMG expectedly here pick up Twitch, and they're actually going to get Renekton as well as their first 2 picks here. I mean, honestly, Papa, I think at one point, especially if the trend of this weekend continues and we see Twitch, I'm almost expecting him to get first pick or banned in a lot of the games moving forward.
Yeah, it's been happening in Korea, Pastry Time, and we just look at today's matches. 3 games, 3 Twitch picks, 3 victories.
And if OMG see if they can make it 4 for 4 here, they do have Twitch on their side, which at this point, at least for today here in week 4, that's a good proposition for them. But Royal, of course, still have options here. Caitlyn certainly not too bad against Twitch. Obviously a very different type of champion as Whites. Ever an assassin player goes straight for Annie.
It locks in the Annie. This is another situation like the previous game where we saw a Syndra blind pick. An Annie blind pick is interesting here, but there has been a precedent for support Annie, so it is kind of a dual role pick coming out from Royal here.
Interestingly, OMG...
And look who it is, Pastry Time.
It's Yorick!
Maybe not. They're considering it. The jungle Yorick worked such a treat last week. It's been banned against them as well. It would be nice to see them try it once again.
And here they go, Orianna Yorick are the picks here for OMG, and you're right, it's been perma-banned pretty much since I saw it for the first time. Look at that win rate. Hasn't appeared too much, I've only played it once, and every other team's like, yeah, we don't really like that, we don't know how to deal with it, so we'll ban that one out here. I actually quite like Orianna Yorick as well. That's a neat little combo. And Yorick Twitch is also quite nice. And OMG, don't quite know how they did it the first time around, but they certainly made something of that jungle Yorick. And teams ever since then seem to have feared it. But OMG have got it once more here, picking it up nice and late in the draft. And now Royal have got to round out their comp here. They could actually be at support Annie at this point, although... Nope, they are. Okay, so Whites is going to get a different assassin that he loves as they pick up Fizz and Jarvan as their last 2 picks.
Yeah, I would have been surprised with the Kassadin pick. Not because, I mean, Whites is, of course, a fantastic Kassadin player, but a hard matchup against Ori, who can, of course, start with that shield ability and just start to auto-attack you down and can really win in trades. But, I mean, Fizz is all-in potential at level 3, potentially even level 2 is so high. I actually like this more. If you're going to go with an assassin mindset against Orianna, Fizz is a good choice.
And just in general, Whites loves to play champions like this, so it's not too surprised to see Fizz coming out here. And looks like Big Pomelo may go back to something he's been playing quite a bit actually here in the LPL. Blitzcrank is being moused over as the last selection here, and never mind, we're locked in for Blitzcrank here. And both these teams, Papa Smithy, have got some pretty flavorful additions to them, I think I'll say.
And I guess the Yorick is going to be tunneling that ult on the Twitch. But if you remember, Pastry Time, the last time we saw the Yorick jungle, it was with a Renekton pick as well. And I speculated maybe it's because of that ultimate. Maybe it's because of that potential for the constant burning of the ultimate from the Renekton.
Could very well be, but we can have the teams move out now. Be very curious to see how this one works out. I mean, I think both Royal and OMG certainly have unique picks that they like to pull out every now and then. I mean, OMG seem to make it work. Royal, a little bit more hot and cold, but I mean, White is a player that very much seems to play his way, and only his way. I mean, he's played Fizz multiple times already in the LPL, and of course, this Loveland jungle Yorick here is quite a sight to behold, so very curious to see how OMG are going to get work done here. And I do like Big Pablo back on Blitzcrank. It's almost a thing where it seemed like kind of a gimmick in the first week when we saw it, and he's played it consistently very, very well when he's played it, and just in general, it definitely suits the way OMG like to play, as you said, Papa, with all those picks, just really trying to shut people down and pick off a few people here and there.
But this is kind of the only other comp we've seen out of OMG is this Yorick Blitzcrank, so this Yorick Renekton synergy, which is more for teamfights just because their only pick potential is that Blitzcrank pull, and then potentially, of course,
level 1 going to come in. White's going into so Lovely blown up there at level 1 as Lucky picks that one up, and now Tabe trying to flash out, takes a lot of damage, but is going to die as Big Pomo's Ignite going to pick that one up. Now Uzi very low, but picks up a second kill. The flash forward though, Twitch going to get that one. Now White's very, very low here, and Lucky now going to take a little bit of damage. Going, looking for the stun, finds it under Godlike. Big Pomo, does he have a hook left in him? He does. There's the hook coming out. Good grab onto Jarvan, and Lucky's forced to flash away. There's more damage coming out to level 1 from that Twitch. That was an absolute massacre, and both teams pick up 2 kills each.
And it's worth noting here, the kills on the OMG side completely with the bot lane. See Big Pomelo and Twitch coming out with kills there. I mean, Blitzcrank's lanes usually go hot and cold. You know, they're usually either super strong or they kind of fall off because of Blitzcrank's unique laning phase. Both of them with kills, they're going to feel pretty damn confident.
Loveland here going to take his blue away as well, so that one's already finished up. And looks like we're going to have 2v1 in the top lane there. Blitz and Twitch going to rotate there. Try and put the hurt on Godlike's Rise. Lucky there finishes red up by himself. Takes quite a bit of damage to do so after that level 1. Forced to back away, so that's going to slow down his jungle by quite a bit actually. As Loveland rotates towards his side of the jungle now. I think going to do his Wraiths given that he doesn't have Smite. And then go ahead and pick up his red shortly after that. But is going to be slightly ahead of Jarvan in terms of jungle clear there as well. And Vayne Annie. Pretty interesting lane given how aggressive Annie can be here, but I think you can get some really strong zoning potential here down towards the bottom, and just in general I think it's always good to lane Vayne in a very comfortable, very safe 2v1 situation.
Now it looks like we're going to maybe potentially have a skirmish around blue buff here as Blitzcrank comes to help Loveland.
Yeah, Big Pomelo coming through. In fact, they're looking for the steal here. Lucky now could be in a bit of trouble as Godlike's taking quite a bit of damage, but the hook does come through there. Very nice play there, and now Lucky forced to EQ out. Loveland aggressively flashing forward there, but the ghoul's not quite enough to pick him up. In fact, Godlike doing a little bit of damage back and forth. Cool now rotating here as well. Gonna actually leash that blue buff and start off the damage here, and I don't think Royal can really contest this one. Loveland's gonna get a very nice steal there onto that blue. And I don't know if they expected to have the pressure work out that way, but the fact that Jarvan was forced to back after his red put a really nice window of opportunity to try and take that one out here. And Tabe gonna get aggressive. A good start on the tower there actually by going. Tabe's gonna go down to Renekton, and he's still alive. One more auto though. Picks it up for Uzi, and Loveland back towards the blue. Picks up Jarvan, who comes back to investigate what's happening. So all of a sudden, pressure everywhere in this game. 7 kills in 3.5 minutes or thereabouts. And I mean, really, this is what we expect from OMG, I think.
But a significant factor here, Rise is still level 1 pastry time. If they take down this turret here, as we see White's put down some good damage onto Cool.
I think Cool's going to be okay, just going to walk out of this one. Yeah, very casually there for Orianna, just walks back in trades. But as you mentioned, that Fizz level 3 do have to be careful of, but Cool's safe for now.
But they're going to take down this top turret. Rise is going to be desperate to stick around this lane and pick up the CS once the lane's unfrozen. A lot of dragon pressure going to come down because Rise has so many levels to come up. Oh no, they're going to push with the creeps here, pastry time. This is Rise's worst nightmare.
It really is. 1,000 gold up already for OMG. Looking to try and do damage to the tier 2 turret now. And they're going to try and do as much as they can here. Godlike, I mean, the minions are coming. He'll pick up some CS. He really doesn't want to get grabbed. I mean, Jungle Yorick's kind of a quirky one, but it certainly does help in pushes like that. OMG forced to back Hido's Sun, actually ambushing as well. So I think just wanting to make sure everything stays okay. They're all going to recall on that tri-bush now. Go somewhere else, maybe try and force down another turret. Maybe walk mid, maybe take Dragon, who knows. I think, Papa, your prediction about Dragon's probably going to be correct here, though.
So let's just take a step back and consider this Jungle Yorick while we have a bit of downtime in this game, although knowing the LPL, that might not last long.
Going actually diving here onto God, like big trade there coming up, but Rune Prison comes through as slice and dice. Does get Renekton out of harm's way for the most part. Tabe's actually around towards the bottom as well, but going, feeling very confident, actually reasonably safe there in that one.
I mean, Jungle Yorick does a few things very well. For example, he can start with Doran's Blade, and then because the ghouls tank buff aggro, he can clear the jungle almost unscathed completely. He has that sustain goal, and of course he has the on-hit damage from the Doran's Blade, but Godlike is in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, here's going to come another dive onto Rise. Going. Just trying to sit up. There's the slice. Nice into the stun. The grab there as well. Actually hits a creep. Big Pomelo with a rare miss, but Godlike still nowhere to run there. And San's going to pick up that kill. Pressure on this turret likely coming out here as well. And OMG continuing to play the way they love to play here. Get kills, get objective, and keep going from there.
And just the ability to deny Rise to level 2 so late. Just popped level 3 during that dive. Rise is so far behind. As a comparison here, Renekton 5 very close to level 6. I mean, Rise has a lot of ground to follow up. He doesn't even have a tier at 6 minutes. Had to go for an emergency cloth armor.
Yeah, White's actually getting ignited in the mid there by Cool as well. Lucky now could also be in a bit of trouble as Big Pomelo looks for the Power Fist, but looks like they're not going to quite go for that one. I think curious to see that OMG actually would rather push here than try and take that dragon. At this point, with all the people they've got down bottom, with the pressure they've created, they basically have free reign of that objective, so it's kind of curious to see them just go for these towers instead. I mean, I guess it makes sense to just want to try and pressure the tier 2 if you can.
Well, the thing is, they have the Yorick Blitzcrank combo. So Blitzcrank's zoning here, and Yorick, because he can produce those ghouls that tank the turret shots, you just get so much more turret push than if you had a different jungler. And that's the adaptation here. Yorick's not a ganker, but he takes neutrals well because of the tanking of the ghouls, of the aggro, so they can take dragons quite safely, and they can push well. So they're just picking to their strengths here, and of course Blitzcrank provides the CC for the 3v2, not the jungler coming in.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of CC on Blitz here as well. In fact, this kind of reminds me here as San takes a little bit of damage coming through. The top tower going down as well, as Gogoing not able to hold them off. But there's a very well-known game that involved a Blitzcrank, a Heimerdinger, and 5 other people mid, or 5 people total mid. And that kind of had a similar effect when they were fast pushing, in that Blitzcrank was just there to kind of be the gatekeeper almost, of being like, hey, no, you don't want to come here. We're going to pick you off, get a kill, and keep pushing down our turrets if you try and get onto us. And Big Pomelo is definitely playing goalie here for his team.
It's just a lot of similarities between what we see out of Nasus players in the Asian competitive scene and Yorick here in terms of, I mean, Nasus doesn't gank very well, but he has such amazing wave clear available so early in the game. Oh, as the smite does come down from OMG.
Java going to look for it, but there's a good smite for Yorick to pull there as well. It's Lucky, but the fish lands on the side. White's now going to try and dive in there as well as Chum the Waters comes out. The flash for after Big Pomelo, so White's really looking for blood here on Fizz, and Blitzcrank, I think he realizes, needs to lead his team away. Does walk back towards the Fizz, knowing he's dead there. Manages to give the kill over to Rice, who's going to be very happy to have a bit of experience, but lets Cool and Sun get away unscathed there, so not bad there. A 1 kill for a dragon, definitely worth it in the eyes of OMG, although they do lose their blue buff to Whites as well, and attempted steal there from Lucky, not quite enough as Yorick's going to clean that one up. And again, OMG really just making sure they stay on top of these objectives.
And this is probably the longest I've ever seen a Rise player not be able to get a tier pastry time. I mean, sometimes they go for Catalyst first, but to not have turned a Mana Crystal into an item till 8.5 minutes into the game, really struggling here. The power time for those items is going to be super far behind the Godlike.
Yeah, and now OMG continuing to push up in the top lane. We've got Renekton and Yorick just doing work there. Lucky down the bottom with Uzi and Tabe. Going to try and work on this bottom turret here as well. Big Pomelo's back in. Sans here as well. If they can look for a grab, maybe they can make something happen, but there's a little too much pressure here. Cool from the mid now, rotating as Orianna, trying to make some coverage happen, but it's not enough. And Royal, I think, very intelligently kind of finds some spots on the map to pick up 2 much needed turrets in this game.
But it's worth saying here that this game has not snowballed out of Royal's potential of coming back here. We have seen that a lot from OMG this series, but not this game.
That's true. I mean, the gold difference still very small between these two teams. There's just over 1,000 gold in favor of OMG. Basically the lead they started with after pushing out that first turret here. Now it looks like Whites could be in a lot of trouble here. Loveland going in, but Big Pomelo down the bottom lane gets popped there as well as Jarvan's there for a gank. They're kind of hanging out in that bush waiting for someone to walk by, and Big Pomelo was the recipient of all that pain. White's actually getting away there as well as San is forced to ambush out of the way, out from under Uzi. And Royal, I mean, as you said, they're really not that far behind in this game, closing the gold distance once again by picking up yet another kill, and definitely still in it here. I mean, they've evened up the towers, they've evened up the kills. I think we're going to have a very interesting next few minutes, and I think once the last outer turret goes down for either of these two teams, we could probably start to see some fireworks, because that's really when Blitzcrank gets going.
And crucially, if we look down at the CS values here, a 30 CS advantage coming out for Uzi, and he must be very close to that Blade of the Ruin King, as he can follow that up with 3 kills behind him here. And when Uzi looks good, Royal traditionally does very well. He had a really struggled through week 3 of the LPL, but well positioned to carry here. Blade the Ruin King at 10 minutes coming out of this Vayne.
Very, very nice timing on that one. Uzi's certainly known for just having absolutely extraordinary mechanics, and that CS advantage very nice here early on in this game. And we actually saw it yesterday, Twitch versus Vayne with Blade of the Ruin King. When they both have it, is actually still a win for Vayne most of the time. And Uzi at this point has to be very, very confident in 1v1ing this Twitch potentially, although obviously Big Pomelo down here can have something to say about that as well. But Vayne very strong right now with that Blade of the Ruin King picked up nice and early. So you have to think Uzi, if this keeps going the way it is for him now, he's going to look really good for Royal come the mid game. Yeah, just down the bottom, Tabi with a stun ready to go, maybe looking for it. There's Final Hour, tumble forward as well. Blade of the Ruin King on Asana, good pink ward put down as well, and that's going to be a kill on Asana. Big Pomelo, nothing he can do, and there's a kill for Uzi.
And that's the beginning of the snowball pastry time. The combo of the pink ward and the Blade of the Ruin King, nothing Sun could do.
Yeah, and Tabi, I really like this build, actually didn't quite spot it until now, but he has double Doran's Ring on support Annie, definitely making sure that they can be as aggressive as they really want to be here.
But that's an interesting double-edged sword there, pastry time, because that means they will be underwarding against a Blitzcrank.
That's true, you can see Lucky with the Oracles moving through. Gonna try and not get grabbed here. Ooh, nice dodge there, managed to juke around the rocket grab and pick up the ward. Looks like Dragon's probably going to be back up soon in fairly short order, so I imagine both teams are going to want to try and get that objective here as Godlike up in the top lane, just farming against Renekton, still very far behind is Godlike on this rise. You already kind of mentioned Papa, he had a really awful start to this game, being denied heavily on experience in CS, but catching up a little now, still pretty far behind this Renekton, but you know, as long as this lane keeps coming through, he's able to pick up the empty lane farm, he's not going to feel too bad, assuming Royal can keep the rest of his team in the game. Now Loveland. Oh, looks like down the bottom, San. Oh, the team is coming down. And a very quick kill there. Uzi with yet another one. 5-1-1 on Vayne. As I look down at the scoreboard briefly. Uzi, slowly but surely, has really crept up with 5 kills already. And as you said, Papa, when he looks good, his team looks absolutely great.
And the power of that Annie jungle, that Annie support, not Annie jungle, but that Annie support, much similar to the Syndra support we saw last game. Once you hit level 6, the burst there, the base damage on that Tibbers is very high.
Looks like Loveland taking a big chunk of damage from Silver Bolts there as well. Blitzcrank trying to look at happen. Big Pomelo wants to grab, but doesn't quite find the line as the minions come in. But Uzi will be forced to back away here. Jarvan even coming around for support as well. Godlike gonna stop going, but he's not done yet. There's the stun coming out. Slice doesn't quite get the dice, unfortunately. So can't chase after that flash. A nice one there from Rise to make sure he gets out of harm's way. Loveland down the bottom, rotating towards there, trying to do a bit of counter pushing. And I mean, at this point, Twitch really just needs to pick up farm, because there's a big difference between Bilgewater Cutlass and Blade of the Ruin King. The 2 daggers in the middle really don't give you a whole lot until you finish up that item.
The important thing here is that because Uzi is so far ahead, now that San has entered lane and died quickly twice, they're just trying to remove pressure from Rise to kind of stay in this side lane, try and pick up farm where he can, and it just delays OMG's natural game of pushing down objectives, of grouping early and trying to go for fights, just because they can't group before Twitch picks up his Blade of the Ruin King.
No, and it really shows here. I mean, basically since Blade of the Ruin King's picked up here by Uzi, the scoreline, apart from the 2 kills that Royal have picked up, both on Twitch I might add, has stayed completely the same. There's been no push towards the mid-top for OMG. I mean, Dragon will be up soon enough. In fact, it should be back up now, I believe. So I spot the icon on the minimap. So maybe that's where the next fight's going to be. But Royal have really kind of slowed this game down to a point where OMG can't play the game they want to play. And given the team that they have, I think if they're just collecting farm, especially as you mentioned, making sure Rise gets the gold that he desperately needs to get, they're going to feel very comfortable come maybe 20-25 minutes here in this game.
Absolutely. Rise's core is probably delayed, maybe 3 or 4 minutes here? We've had 3 or 4 quiet minutes from an OMG perspective, and it suits him to a T.
Yeah, looks like Dragon going to be the attempt now for OMG. They're going to rotate down towards that one. Godlike, I believe, will not be in attendance for this one. Loveland actually going to get stunned up here. White's going deep. The Chun the Waters comes through. Tibbers down there as well. A big amount of damage as Lucky dunks on top of him. Now Godlike coming through with the teleport as Loveland with his ultimate trying to make something happen. A good Orianna ball, but White's now jumping onto Cool as well, and that Fizz going, trying to chase that after that Fizz, and Uzi doing the damage where he can as well. San's going to come around the side there. Godlike going to find him out though. Big Pomelo is going to go down as Uzi picks up that kill. Lucky very, very low from Deadly Venom, but just able to stay. Oh, never mind. just dies there on Jarvan. You can't get enough there. Now Tabe forced to flash up there as Go going very aggressively, diving under that turret here. In fact, maybe even going to cost him his life, but looks like Royal have got different plans here. They want to rotate towards and try and pick up an objective here. Looks like they're going to go back towards Dragon, and I think we just had a 1-for-1 trade at the end of it all, which given how much damage came out was actually pretty spectacular, but not even Royal, unfortunately, after all that, can even do anything here. Everybody just backs away, and looks like they're going to reset for the next fight at Dragon.
Yeah, Loveland there was kind of caught with his pants down. Thankfully, because he ulted himself, was able to act as a ball carrier for Orianna, so they were able to get some damage out that fight. But another skirmish victory comes out to Royal.
They're going to be happy with that. We'll see if they can make it turn into some objectives. In fact, both teams here kind of at a stalemate when it comes to just trading kills. I mean, we've seen the 2 kills on Vayne. That last skirmish was very even as well, so they just kind of trade back and forth. So I think the next big fight here, Twitch does have his Blade of the Ruin King finish now, by the way. Still down as Zeal, actually, having that dagger in his inventory as Vayne works on her Phantom Dancer. A little bit closer there on that one for Rizzy, but Royal now going to go ahead and try and do this Dragon. It's already done, actually, as Vayne there with plenty of damage between Blade of the Ruin King and Silver Bolt's able to clear that objective out nice and quickly. And OMG, I think for the first time almost ever since we started covering the LPL, look defensive.
Absolutely, their play is a bit muted here, and the last time they had Yorick jungle, they didn't have much pick potential, so the game was a bit slower, but it was just kind of a slow game all round, and by the time Yorick grouped, he had most of a frozen heart gun, so he was kind of a threat. Here he's a little bit under-leveled. I mean, they haven't been able to secure that second objective, which kind of would have vindicated the Yorick pick, but they are able to take this mid turret.
Very nice timing here on this one. Royal sleeping on the job there for that one. He really didn't want to have to lose that mid turret for free, and they kind of just weren't in the right place there. OMG now going to work on this tier 2 as well, but Lucky going to try and make it happen. Golden Age is popped there. Actually, the grab gun, they're going to go into Lucky. They want to go in. The Cataclysm traps him in there, and that's really not where he wants to be, as San's going to pick that one up. Tabo there with a decent timber stun. Chum the waters onto Loveland there as well. They're going to follow up, but a beautiful Orianna ult there, and a big double kill there for Twitch comes out. OMG, perfect positioning there for that one. The triple happening there for Twitch as Big Pummelo picks that one up onto Rise, and a 4-for-0 trade there for OMG as they pick up this tier 2 turret here as well. That was masterfully played by Orianna Blitzcrank.
Make a mistake against OMG at your peril. They are the best team in the LPL at seizing advantages back. And what was just going to be an outer turret, now it's going to lead to an inhibitor turret falling for Royal.
The good news for Royal, they don't lose their mid inhibitor quite yet, but it's very much vulnerable now with that inhibitor turret gone. And really just one hook there onto Lucky. I mean, Jarvan, I think, made the right choice. He kind of had to go for it there. He's already been initiated in, essentially, by Blitzcrank, but he trapped himself in there. He's basically 1v4ing with his ultimate and nobody else able to get in. You could see White's desperately trying to get in as Fizz, but it didn't work out, and then all Twitch had to do was turn the ultimate on, and one beautiful Orianna ult from Cool, and that was a big, big damage combo there for the 4-0 trade. Sanu actually getting caught out by Whites. A pink one there is actually available there for Fizz, and he's actually going to chum the waters now as well. Sun should go down there as the shutdown comes out. 500 extra gold there for Whites. He's very happy to have that. And Lichbane Fizz, no joke when it comes to assassinating someone like Twitch, but he's going to have to do that every single time, or at least in the team fights, if Royal are really going to make something happen here.
I mean, the ideal in a team fight is for Whites to assassinate Twitch. Difficult to do that, as of course a lot of the damage comes out of that 1 AP ratio Shark there, and it does hit any tank standing in front of the Twitch. So the other option is to get fed enough to delete whoever it is, whether it's Twitch or a frontliner, and make the fights 5v4.
So OMG just defending up their mid turret now. A little bit afraid of getting blitz grabbed despite the 5v4, so OMG going to defend that nicely. Yorick as well, definitely helping out with the wave clear. I have to say, your comparison to Dazzles I think is very, very fitting for this jungle Yorick.
Well, he's also better able to push turrets because he can spam out those ghouls. They will eat turret shots. Your minion wave lives longer, does more damage itself. You have a lot of options with Yorick jungle. And then, of course, in a team fight, Yorick is kind of a glorified ult bot in most cases. In this case, pretty damn underleveled, but he can still use that ultimate.
He can indeed.
And while, of course, the ultimate scales an 80 percentage damage, so a Twitch clone will do less damage if Yorick's underleveled. If they use that ball on another champion who does magic damage, the magic damage does stay static throughout the levels of the ultimate.
And of course there's the obvious choice there of Orianna, but as you mentioned last time we saw this from OMG, definitely works nicely with the Renekton as well.
All that magic damage, the Sunfire Cape, the ultimate, which functions in a very similar way to Sunfire Cape, if Renekton can just stay on top of the enemy carries, doing full damage, potentially 2 Renektons if they ult him early, it's a lot of damage coming out there, deceptively so.
Yeah, now OMG just setting up towards this Baron now. Big Pomelo with his oracles. Gonna just try and make some space around here. If there was ever a situation that Blitzcrank loves, by the way, it's having an oracles around the Baron pit, because every team always wants to check just to make sure, and you just get so many good chances to grab when you have exclusive vision. So Blitzcrank really in his element here at this point of the game, and OMG with all the pressure they put on mid, just have to find a window into this one. I like that they're pushing with Godlike down the bottom. He teleported down back towards the Dragon last time when he needed to pick up farm, and with that teleport, he's still very far behind on CS, but at least he's able to pick up CS where he needs to in the empty lanes, and still able to get to the team fight with teleport.
He has gone for that early boost too here, so that Rod of Ages or Seraphs, depending on which one he goes for first, is going to be delayed.
I mean, he needs one at one point. I think at this point you probably just want the Banshee. Looks like they're going to go in. A great grab on Natabe. The silence coming out there is cool. Actually gets stunned. Lucky around the side as well. Going to go after the Orianna. But Loveland picks up Tabi. There's the kill for Vayne under Blitzcrank there as well. But now Cool being Yorick ulted as well. OMG chasing him down as Godlike's coming to the fight. Getting immediately chased away by the tanky frontline there. So Big Pomelo has been traded for Tabe as the ports go down. But there's another kill as Loveland's going to pick up Godlike. And the rest of Royal, the remaining members here, not too much health between them. Trying to get away from this Twitch as San is actually ambushed, looking for the rest of Royal. They're going to take the red buff instead. I mean, OMG, they'd love to try and push something down here. The death time is not too big at this point, though, as we're only just over 21 minutes here in this game, so I don't think they're going to go for any objectives, but another nice
Given
little
where
fight.
the minion waves were, like bot turret wasn't an option, and of course all the turrets down in mid lane, they wouldn't have been able to get the inhibitor there, so probably smart just to take down the red buff, you know, have more buffs, have access to 3 buffs, and then regroup and fight again.
Not the objective they would have wanted, but certainly they'll take it here. Twitch down the bottom. Just going to clear out the minion wave as it comes through. Looks like Loveland's going to go back and buy as well. And Spirit of the Ancient Golden finished up for Yorick. That's a nice item for him to have, even though it is a little late here.
Yeah, it has cooldown reduction, it has mana regen importantly, as of course Yorick, even with that tier, might have mana issues in a long drawn out fight. Just a nice item to pick up.
Pomelo continues to clear out wards here with his oracles. Really wants to make sure he's got vision of this Baron. Ooh, blue buff getting hooked here as well. I think he knows that somebody wanted it. In fact, he's going to kind of reset it back and forth here. Royal going to be able to chase onto it, so that should go probably to Whites here, who I'm sure wants it. Although, nope, never mind. Looked for the steal but couldn't quite find it. Big Pomelo basically just getting some information there by hooking that one over. I mean, OMG, they seem to keep consistently winning fights when they're able to set them up here, but even with the gold lead reasonably in their favor here, they're about 4,500 ahead. I would still be afraid, especially of just a decent CC combo that they have between Ryze and Annie, and the fact that and Jarvan as well. And just not to mention the fact that if Whites ever gets onto a squishy target, they're dead pretty much instantly at this point.
Absolutely. It's one of those things also where if they can win a fight and Godlike can get in there, get 5 assists or get a couple of kills, he might be able to kickstart this item build, which, you know, is kind of in disarray at this point.
The Dragon going to go down here for OMG. Orianna going to pick that one up for the team. So this 3-man Dragon happens there for OMG. Twitch actually just still farming here. San's kind of been busy AFK farming at this point. Still very far behind Uzi on CS, I might add. So impressive showing from a very young, very mechanically sound AD carry player. But I mean, it's not too bad. It's Phantom Dancer bled the Ruin King for both of them now, with more of a Last Whisper completed up for Vayne, and only the Longsword there for Twitch. But San playing catch up a little bit here as Twitch. Once they both have triple damage items, probably not going to be too bad. I mean, at that point it's almost like they can kind of have an even-ish fight, unless Uzi's ridiculously far ahead on gold, which I don't think is the case here, although maybe at 7-2-1 there's a gold discrepancy. Unfortunately we can't check, but OMG still happy here. Cool playing very well. The Yorick seems to be working out. Going as well, very aggressive on this Renekton, looking good. And I'm not sure. It's kind of two weird team comps here, Papa Smithy.
I think what with the item advantage you're talking about, to be a kill ahead here, to be that much CS ahead and only really be up a pickaxe, like that is not a big power jump. If you can finish the Last Whisper against just the constituent parts, that's when the power jump happens. But right now, actually quite even in terms of items on the OMG versus Royal AD carry side.
And Royal once more trying to push out this outer turret that OMG have time and time again tried so hard to protect, and with good reason. We always talk about how important that first center turret is in the map, and you can just see it makes a world of difference here for Royal. I mean, they can only go up and check, and there's still plenty of vision around the center of the map, and when Baron, which of course now is becoming a very, very important objective in this game, not having the ability to move through aggressively into the enemy jungle through the middle of the map is a big, big deal. And Royal, I mean, they've been basically in mid for 10 minutes trying to make sure that turret goes down.
It's one of those things, Space Jam, that turret, it always seems to be the OMG motif to have that turret down, just because so many more safe options to go and do those aggressive wards. And Royal, as you say, they have to go down fairly aggressive side lanes to be able to ward as they want to, and that just opens them up to Blitzcrank hooks.
We're looking through the item builds now as we have a bit of a lull in play. Both teams really just jostling around Baron, making sure they have the vision they need. We've got almost Rabadon's Death Cap finished up there for Orianna, who's going to add that to her Athenes. We've got Renekton looking pretty scary here, actually, with Warden's Mail, Spirit Visage, Sunfire Cape, going for that Randuin Sunfire Cape, Spirit Visage build that seems to be pretty much the standard here on Renekton at this point. We've got Lichbane and Need to See Large Rod there for Fizz, and Fizz has plenty of items he could build out of that Need to See Large Rod, any of the three of them, actually, which Tinner does very, very nicely with his kit. In fact, I almost want to see a DFG just for that super massive burst potential.
And the last whisper is completed on Vayne, so there is that 40% armor penetration advantage for Vayne against this Twitch.
And right now, Sun only has the pickaxe and the longsword, so that is a difference right now with that completed last whisper. So maybe that's the cue for Royal to start making things happen here and really try and force a 5v5 team fight. But you know, OMG have been winning the team fights when they've been happening, so maybe Royal are a little scared of going too far. They have to be careful as well, so they're trying to clear out wards because they don't want to get Blitzcrank grabbed accidentally and have things all go wrong very quickly, because one Blitzcrank from Big Pomelo, and that will basically spell the end of whatever objective OMG want to go for after that. Oh, there's Lucky getting grabbed there. Spoke too soon. They're jumping in to try and get out. Does EQ himself out there. Tabe trying to get onto stand. In fact, Fizz is in the back there as well, trying to get onto him. But Big Pomelo, beautiful flash silence, manages to save him, and now the spray and pray happens. The rest of Royal trying so hard to get out now. And there's the grab actually whiffing there as Uzi's taking on Cool, but Cool completely deletes him off the map. And I cannot credit Big Pomelo enough for that play. It's time and time again we see Blitzcrank aggressively initiating for his team, and again with the Orianna ball, he's going to make something happen. Godlike going to get knocked up, grabbed in there as well, but Rise force a flash out of the way of that one, as Godlike will be able to make sure he stays safe. I mean, the chase continues here. OMG just getting pick after pick after pick. The freight train very much running right now, and it's all Big Pomelo leading the charge of that one. And those 3 quick kills there, 3 for 0, can give a nice mid inhibitor.
And what a different game that would be if that turret wasn't up, Pastry Time.
That's
it
true.
ended up being a glorified turret dive from Whites there. Went all in on picking up that Twitch, couldn't get the kill, and then Uzi basically died in the crossfire. So again, that turret advantage in mid, critical for that fight coming out for OMG.
Yeah, and you can see White's working on his Zhonya's right now. If he'd had a little more gold, maybe gotten another kill or two, he may have actually had the Zhonya's to make that dive a little bit easier on himself, but as it was, really just winning with a Lichbane and a Need to See Large Rod. Almost picked up the kill on Sam, but some heroic moves there from Big Pomelo managed to make sure that Whites couldn't do the last bit of damage, and you saw how quickly that fight turned when Twitch was still alive. He activated his ultimate immediately and just turned around and went to town. Now Big Pomelo, I think he knows what's going on. He's going to try and get a grab, just misses Tabe there, but Royal, they cannot stay on Baron with OMG back around. They looked for the Desperation Baron, they wanted it if they could get it, but I think OMG are going to be the ones to try and claim that buff in very short order.
It was a good idea to chance the vision there and see if they could go for it and sneak it through, but no dice.
No, Big Pomelo has been very, very thorough with his warding here around the Baron area. He's been hanging out for about 5 to 10 minutes, just clearing everything away, and OMG at this point with that inhibitor down looks for the blue buff again. Always very aware is Big Pomelo as his Blitzcrank. Always wanting to make sure his team can have every advantage they can get. Last Whisper finished up for Twitch now as well. So things looking good. I mean, Zhonya's now up for Whites as well. Royal, if they can have another fight that looks like the one they just had under that tower, maybe Whites can finish the job there. And if they can kill San, I'm not saying it's over, but it looks really, really good for Royal if they can start a fight just by killing Twitch instantly and starting a 5v4.
Staying with that Twitch, it just shows how different this game is, Pastry Time. As we see it,
Big
the
Pomelo
grab interrupted by Annie.
Tim is there actually, gets grabbed there as San picks up the 50 gold from that bear, so not
The
exactly.
point I was trying to make, Pastry Time, is that, you know, it didn't feel like long ago that every time San tried to enter lane, he was getting assassinated by that ahead Vayne.
And now looks like a different story here. Is Lucky going to go in, try and make something happen? Everybody else flashes away. A decent hold there from Orianna. Spray and pray coming through, and a nice line there, and big damage done to Rising Joven. And now Uzi, they're going to get the kill on the side. It's actually a very nice assassination, but they're going to try and turn it around. Uzi wants to get out. He's tumbled out invisible. The going still going on there. The Deadly Venom ticking away as well, but enough life still there to keep Uzi out from under it, and the double kill comes out for Vayne there. In fact, OMG, everything has gone wrong here. A 4-for-2 trade in favor of Royal as Loveland turns around and pops a goal into White's face to make it 4-for-3.
think Wise was surprised by that burst damage from the W ghoul there, Pastry Time. You never really know how much damage Yorick does, you just think of him as an ult bot, but managed to DPS him down there.
Wise gets popped there. Royal still trading up there in that one, managing to pick off 4 members of OMG as they dive quite aggressively onto that turret. And I said if they picked off Twitch, things look good. Uzi did manage to pick up Sun there, and it did make a pretty big difference. Unfortunately, everybody else from Royal still very low after that exchange, and they'll be happy to not have lost the game at that point just then, because it almost looked like OMG were moving in for the kill, but they've still got a long way to crawl back in this game. They're not quite 10,000 gold behind, but it still doesn't look good here.
The first completed item coming out of Rise here is that Frozen Heart, wanting to try and dictate the team fights here. I mean, there is 3 auto attack champions, 4 if you include Blitzcrank on the OMG side, so an important pickup, but I mean, that I guess probably going to be a late Banshee's Veil here just to have a bit of magic resist, because far too late for the Rod of Ages. And the Seraphs, I mean, it will probably be a straight buy of the Seraphs. He must have had the tier attacking for, what, 30 minutes almost at this point, but yeah, definitely behind, unfortunately, is Godlike.
Yeah, Godlike, I think his tier's been charging for about 20 to 22 minutes there. Got it around the 8.5, 9 minute mark. So it's definitely on the way, even with the tier changes. But no, Godlike certainly not having his best game on Rise, I'm sure. OMG going to pick up the Dragon there. Just make sure they cement that gold lead. Almost 10k ahead. They're about 500 gold short of that benchmark. And again, they've got plenty of control here. Mid inhibitors still down there. So plenty of vision pushing through as well. And kind of trying to do what they've been doing for the last 10 to 15 minutes. Just try and pick up this Baron here. Oracle's still up here on Blitzcrank, going to clear out some of these wards. And Royal are soon going to have to make a really important choice here. Whether they want to try and get OMG off Baron or are forced to defend their mid inhibitor. And now they've got to make it. The Baron, is being DPS down there by OMG. The damage is actually very, very massive. I don't think Royal are going to make it in time. And there the Dragon is, in fact, all going to group up here. And this could be an absolutely vicious bait here, but never mind, they move up. Big Pomelo, though, he could find Vayne if he gets the grab on it. Uzi doesn't quite get it. Condemned look like it slightly misaligned him there, and chum the waters as well from Whites to try and disrupt him. There was a nice little bit of play, but OMG still got what they want there by picking up the Baron, and I think they're going to just charge in 5v5 and look for a team fight. Big Pomelo finding out there was a good grab there and a lucky over the wall. Cataclysm using there as well, but Jarvan's probably dead at this point. Going obliterated though by Vayne's damage, and Orianna just managed to only get godlike there as White activates his zombies. But Tabe's gone down there for Sun. The damage still coming in as Uzi very much a threat here in this team fight, but a good flash grab there as Big Pomelo picks up Rise. 3 for 0 there for OMG as they push in with a few members on fairly low health. But Twitch is still alive here. Uzi not going to be able to defend this all on his lonesome. And Lucky very much caught out of the way. Recalling back to base with very little help. The middle inhibitor turret will fall once again here for OMG. And you have to think they're going to keep going and probably even close out this game.
Yeah, Sun was just able to open up so much space there between Royal, who were using their flashes aggressively to get on top of that rat, and his teammates. I mean, he was just so far back with that 850 range, able to free hit there in the long side lane bush. Twitch is super strong, Pastry Time. He can team fight from so far away that Royal, even with those assassins, have no answer for him.
And OMG just still piling on the gold advantage now. I mean, as I said, we talk about protected Twitch. This sort of content with a big, big front line between Yorick and Renekton, and especially with just how crisp and how precise Cool's Orianna play is. This looks like a very scary comp here for OMG, not just discounting the fact that, Big Pomelo is playing Blitzcrank in basically every facet he needs to, defensively, offensively, using those picks, warding fantastically. He's even got a Mikhail's Crucible now as well, just to make sure Twitch has an extra Quicksilver Slash. He's got one of his own. This comp looks really scary from OMG, and I think something we're going to start seeing here in the LPL is Twitch getting banned, because every single time he joins a game, he just looks so utterly good.
And we mentioned Shyvana as perhaps just an LPL special, something that profits on the lack of wards. I don't think Twitch in any way is an LPL special.
No, not at all.
Just as the meta sits right now, just such a strong pick for AD carry. It does so many things so well.
I would even go so far to say that right now, Twitch is probably the best AD carry in the game.
And that says a lot with all the attention, of course, that Vayne's been getting as well.
Yeah, I mean, Uzi's Vayne looks fantastic, is still ahead, in fact, on CS by quite a significant margin up against Sun, but Twitch is certainly something as an AD carry. And OMG at this point, 2 inhibitors down, Baron buff still ticking away. Be very difficult to see them losing from this position. I mean, Royal, they kind of, picked to assassinate Twitch. I think that makes a lot of sense, given what we know about Twitch and how immobile he can be, but OMG doing a good job protecting Sun when they need to, and with this last inhibitor turret left here in the top lane. If Royal can defend, then maybe they can find a way back in, but it looks...
I actually really like the comp they've picked to counter Twitch, but it needs, it needs the Rise fulcrum. It needs the tanky Rise with 3 items to be able to stand in the middle of the fight and just walk up and snare Twitch even through all the AoE damage, but that Rise doesn't exist this game.
No, he really doesn't. He's still almost 100 CS behind going, and Frozen Hard at 35 minutes is basically all Godlike's got to his name. I mean, he's probably got a fully charged tier at this point. He's got a Catalyst still. He's had for a while. In fact, Tabi going to get grabbed up there. Deleted from the maps. Cool, picks that one up. Lucky now going in there as well on Java, but there's just too much damage at Twitch. Doing so well. A great ult there from Cool as well. And Uzi's trying to kite the best he can. He picks up Big Pomelo almost as Oriana picks up the Fizz. Renekton going down there as well. But it's just too much to hit a double kill for Twitch coming out. And that's game here for OMG. They're going to pick up the last game of the day here on day 2 for week 4 of the LPL Summer. And I don't know if it's just the point of can OMG be stopped, Papa Smithy? Can the Rat be stopped here in the LPL? He's 4 for 4 today on games.
If we're just looking at today, Pastry Time, the answer's no. And that Yorick just continues to wow me, Pastry Time, just because it's a tanky front laner. You can ult someone who can, you have the full health to be able to tank the turret there, so they had so much dive potential between the Yorick clone, just the fact that Yorick and Renekton are built so tanky. That maybe that's their dive comp. Maybe they see Yorick as the linchpin to a dive comp, and that makes sense to me.
And I mean, we saw the Yorick banned out quite a few times since we've seen it, not banned out this game, and I think OMG are certainly onto something, not just a one-trick pony with the jungle Yorick. They know what's going with their comp, and they played it to a T. Once again, OMG looking so strong here in the LPL Summer, really making another case of themselves as still the best team, and certainly kings of the LPL potentially once again, of course, the winners of spring. So that concludes our coverage for the day. Absolutely great games as always. If you missed any of them, feel free to head over to youtube.com/lolchampseries, and you can check out the LPL Summer VOD archive there and check out the rest of the coverage. For now, though, we are done. My name is Pastry Time. I've been joined by Papa Smithy. We are Papa Time, and signing off for week 4, day 2 of the LPL Summer.